If you bring your child and you've not sorted yourself out, and your child is left somewhere without being picked, or your child is left by someone who you are not to be trusted, and something happens to that child, guess who is going to be blamed? You. And guess who is going to be at your door? The police and the social service. And you know, Africans and the social service and the police are not supposed to be in one statement. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Paulette. I am a Kenyan nurse currently living and working in the United Kingdom. I share my journey coming in the UK while pregnant, so everything motherhood, parenthood, nursing, and lifestyle. So make sure you subscribe, and to my returning subscribers, thank you to all of you. We are now on the road to 100 subscribers. I know many people are working towards getting to 1,000 and 1,000,000. I'm over here just talking about my 100 subs because huu ndio mwaka wa kujichocha. Huu ni mwaka wa and I'll be releasing the delivery story soon. I just don't want to get into lawsuits, so I just had to get my story right. Okay, so as the title suggests, today we're going to talk about childcare. And this is a topic that has been requested by a lovely lady in the comment section, and I said, why not? Let's talk about childcare. Childcare is just a common name that is used to refer to you planning on how your child is going to be taken care of. And what does it encompass? What are the options that are available in the UK? So just to name a few, you can have either a babysitter or a nanny. You can have a childminder. You can take your child to daycare or nursery. There can be after-school clubs. There can be breakfast clubs in the morning. You can also have homeschooling tutor. You can have a private nurse, a private midwife. There are so many options. And down on that list, there is a group that I'm going to call ETC. And this is family, friends, and relatives. It's because, in my opinion, if you're going to solely depend on your neighbors and friends, just make sure you are well aware of the pros and the cons, because if you don't consider the cons, utakula ngori. Anyway, so let's just get into it. So who is a childminder? This is a self-employed person who has been certified to take care of kids in their own homes. So you as the parent, you are going to take your kid to this person's house, and that is where your child is going to spend the day. They usually work between 9 to 5 or business hours, maybe from 7:30 all the way to maybe 4:30, maybe 5. Some offer an extension, but maybe at a fee. Some offer to pick your child maybe from school if you're working a 12-hour shift. Some pick the children from school if they end early, and they can stay with the child up to the time when you pick them up at a small fee as well. They are good and they're quite flexible. In my opinion, they are among the cheapest options when it comes to childcare. Most of them have undergone certifications like the pediatric certificates. They have the childminding training, so on and so forth. I'll just go to the next one, and then I'll give the pricing at the end of the video so that you can be able to compare and contrast. The second option is a nanny. So a nanny is what we usually call at home a house manager or a house help. It's just that in this country, they are considered to be a professional. So they also have their own certifications, and for a nanny, they usually come to your house. And because they are under you, they are considered to be your employee. And because they are your employee and they are staying in your house, it means they are entitled to national insurance. You're going to pay their tax. You're going to pay at least minimum wage of the UK. On top of that, they are entitled to get maternity pay, maternity leave, annual days from you. Okay, and most of them do not do household day-to-day duties. So consider that even if you have a nanny or a stay-in nanny, there is a possibility that the rest of the things in the house, it's you who is going to take care of. Okay. Option number 3 is babysitters. The difference between a babysitter and the rest is that babysitters usually tend to take care of your child temporarily. Most of them usually just have a certain pay rate that they can give you because they are not employed like the nannies. They're usually just self-employed, just like the childminders. It's just that they come to your house, take care of your child temporarily when need be. The next option is to take your child either to a daycare or a nursery. Most people usually interchange these two words, to mean the same, but in my opinion, they are not the same, because daycare is more of a temporary or an informal place, a school-like kind of structure where you can take your child, but it's quite informal compared to a nursery, where most nurseries are usually attached to a primary school, or if it's not attached, they tend to follow a very systematic education system as well. But in the daycare, you can find that they kind of like freestyling it and just let kids play and teach them sort of fun games and fun things to do, while those in the nursery tend to follow a certain structure. So most parents prefer taking their kids to nursery so that the kids can have a better way to proceed to the primary school. I don't know, I'm not taking my kid to a daycare or a nursery school yet, so it's up to you to decide which one is best suited for your child. Au pair is someone who comes into the country for a certain period of time, mostly exchange students, international students, and also visitors who have a short period of visa. And instead of them to occur expenses when looking for places to stay, places or people to stay with, instead, they register under an au pair program, and the au pair program pairs them with you, the parent, who has an extra room. Because they are not considered to be employees like the nannies, it's usually like a symbiotic relationship kind of payment, but you are required to at least pay them some pocket money. So if you get someone from your country and you are kind of understanding each other, why not? So what if you have a child who is going to school? Remember, if you're a nurse or if you're coming into the country and you're doing shifts that are 12-hour shift or 13-hour shift, and your kid is going to school which starts from 9 to 3, there is going to be a gap where who is going to take your child? Who is going to take care of your child? What's happening? And this is why they came up with something called breakfast clubs and after school clubs. So breakfast club usually starts from around 7:30 all the way to 9, while the after school club starts from when it ends up to sometimes 6. They might provide until 7, but I've just heard from those up to 6. Another option is play groups. Play groups, you can just find them online when you search, especially around your community centers. So these are just free places that you can take your kid. However, you as the parent are needed to be there. You can't go and just leave your kid and go away. So you can find these play groups in churches and volunteer places and community centers, but they do not offer services where someone can take care of your kid. You have to be there as the parent most of the time, and you are going to be with the kid as they play and interact with other children. And it's usually for a maximum of 1 to 2 hours. I've never seen a play group that goes for 6 hours or 8 hours, never seen that. And it's just a way of interacting the kids with other kids, or parents meeting with other parents to just change the environment of the child. There are a few options for those who have just delivered and don't have relatives take care of them. You can either hire a private nurse to take care of you, or a private midwife. They can come to your house, but not to live in, but to just help you with your day-to-day activities according to how you have written the contract with them, which according to me is quite a good option if you can afford it. So that's just but the few options that I've given you that are available in the UK. So let's go to the pricing. We'll just start off with a nanny. Some charge all the way up to £18, some to £20. I've seen some for £45 an hour. And this is just in my town. I don't know how much they charge in London and other places. It might be costing a kidney and an eye. And the next option is usually a day nursery or a daycare. Some daycares and nurseries that charge the same, around £45 per day. Most of the time they charge per day, per child. An au pair, as I had mentioned, it's up to you to discuss with them, but at least consider giving them maybe £90 or £100 a week just for pocket money, because the government is expecting you to give them something in exchange of them taking care of your child. When it comes to childminders, some charge around £4.50 all the way to £7.50. In my opinion, it's among the cheapest, although for childminders they usually charge per hour. The play groups that are quite informal, some are for free. Some usually request a £1 charity amount per the day that you've taken your kid. Some charge £3, some charge £5 for a full day or the full time that your child is there. For the breakfast clubs and the after school clubs, you can find anything between £5 to £15 for the amount of time that your kid is going to be there. And I've heard of some that charge £5 per hour as well. And if you extend the time, they start charging by the hour or by every 30 minutes that you're late from picking up your child. So start considering, before you take your child to any sort of childcare option, make sure that you've asked them about extra hours, and if you're late, what is going to happen, and the charge fee that you are going to be charged in case you don't take your child during the period that they've stated you should take your child. Okay, you'll be able to find the options online. Just make sure you do your due diligence, do the references, and if you're not able to, make sure you ask for a driving license, ask for a DBS certificate, and also ask if they have any previous criminal records and experiences and the certificates that they have on them. So, you remember I mentioned friends, family, and neighbors. And this is just my unsolicited opinion. It totally depends on the town that you've landed. I know of some people who are living in a certain town and they have a small group of around 4 families from different households, and they help to take care of each other. That is a good way of making sure that the probability of your child being taken care of at a certain day is quite high. So just make sure, before you depend solely on neighbors and friends, make sure that you have sat down with them and have come up with a workable schedule. Don't just assume that it's going to work out if you've not talked to them, because some neighbors don't prefer to share childcare among friends and family for their own reasons, and you have to respect that as well. Even if they're your countrymen, if they don't want to share childcare options with you, that's totally fine. Another thing is, when you're depending on family, especially if you're pregnant and you're thinking about bringing family to stay with you for the first 6 months, don't put your head in there, because I know of several people whose visitors' visas have been cancelled, and yet they were the people who were supposed to come and help take care of your child. Here, childcare is totally dependent on you as the parent. If you've not brought your kid to the UK yet, I would highly suggest you land, know how your environment is, and from there you'll be able to make more informed choices instead of bringing your child to the UK and then getting stranded in the end. Because if you bring your child and you've not sorted yourself out, and your child is left somewhere without being picked, or your child is left by someone who you are not to be trusted, and something happens to that child, guess who is going to be blamed? You. And guess who is going to be at your door? The police and the social service. And you know, Africans and the social service and the police are not supposed to be in one statement. Look at the options and choose the best for you. So that has been the childcare options. If you have any more questions, let's meet in the comment section. And once again, I'm just going to remind you, we are on the road to 100 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe, and you can also share this with all your friends who want to know the childcare options. So let's meet in the next episode.